And welcome to my scene analysis from the Matrix movie. I have made a disposition. I would start with my short summary, and then I will talk about my analysis. I will talk about the characters, the name symbolic, and some themes. Then I will make an interpretation. I will find some similarities between Jesus and Neo. And last but not least, I will put the movie in relation to Please Don't Tell Me How the Story Ends. And now for the summary. We have chosen the scene where Neo gets shot several times and die. Trinity, she gets very sad and she says that she loves him. She then goes on to kiss him and he comes back to life. Neo wakes up in the Matrix and Smith and the other agents are very shocked and they start to shoot him. But Neo stops the bullets with his mind and Neo sees everything in computer codes. Then Smith attacks him and then Neo jumps into his body and Smith's body cracks and he explodes. And the analysis. We have the character Trinity, and Trinity, she represents the Holy Trinity in the movie. In the clip that we have chosen, we see that her love for Neo is very powerful, and she brings Neo back to life by declaring her love. We can compare her kiss to the Sleeping Beauty movie, because Sleeping Beauty also wakes up by a kiss from her loved, just as Neo does. We can definitely say that Trinity is a martyr, and though Neo does everything he can to keep her alive, she accepts her death. Then we have Morpheus. He says that Neo's the one. Neo's way was prepared by Morpheus, and it was the Oracle who told Morpheus that he would be the one to find the one. And in the clip we can also see that Morpheus is really affected by Neo's death because he was so sure that he was the one. In the clip we also see Neo, and we see his development. We see when he gets shot, he doesn't believe in himself, but when he resurrects, he starts believing in himself and in his faith. You can also see that Neo is shocked that he can stop these bullets with his mind. And when he's fighting against Agent Smith, we can also see Neo kind of looks bored in this fight because he's so much stronger than Agent Smith. And the themes could, for instance, be love, faith, death. It could also be to lose someone you love and believing in yourself. And the similarities to Jesus. We definitely see the first parallel is Thomas Anderson's name, which is Neo. Ander, it comes from the Greek word for man, and combined with son, it means son of man, which is the same name as Jesus had. And the second parallel is the birth of Neo. Neo is born into this test tube, and that's similar to Jesus' virgin birth by Virgin Mary. We can also see that Jesus had his disciples, and we can also see that Neo has the same crew. You can also call them kind of disciples because they're trying to help Neo to become the one. And we can also see that Neo, he's dying and he end up resurrected, just like Jesus. We can also see that Neo makes the same connection between believing and seeing, and he doubts himself and his abilities until he begins to actually accumulate his experience. And now for the interpretation. As we can see on the other picture here, we can see Jesus is hanging on the cross. And we can also see that the way Neo stands in this picture is the same way. But Jesus and Neo are both the one, so they have a faith, but they don't really have a free will. But when they believe, they have, because they choose to accept it and believes that they have a choice. In our scene, we can also see, we cannot see that there are any free will or fate, but in the scene where Neo has to choose between the red and the blue pill from Morpheus, we can see that he has to take the choice between free will or fate. Neo chooses the red pill, which is the real life, and he learns that free will isn't pretty. And the movie in relation to the short story we have read, Please Don't Tell Me How the Story Ends. In the Please Don't Tell Me How the Short Story Ends, we see that Q is skeptical. He is as skeptical as Neo. But they both end up accepting their faith. We can also see kind of the same themes. We can see the theme faith, which is definitely the main theme. That was my presentation. Thank you for listening.